Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for coming in. What's the trend you're seeing?
Well, I'm seeing, especially now that we are having these heat waves, I'm seeing that people want to have air-conditioned homes. It's really become more popular. I mean, 20 years ago in Edmonton, you wouldn't have these heat waves that we're experiencing now.
Right.
Maybe you'd have a hot week, but now they seem to be becoming more frequent. And so when you're going into homes, people are really liking to be comfortable and expecting a nice, cool home, and air conditioners help with that.
And is that why people are asking for it? They just don't want that stuffiness that you kind of feel when it gets really sticky and hot?
Well, I think there's a couple of factors. First of all, most of the buying and selling takes place during the summer, hotter months.
Right.
And also, people are spending more times at home. A lot of us have more hybrid work schedules. So instead of being in an air-conditioned office, the hottest part of the day, some of us are in our homes. So it's becoming really important to have a nice, comfortable, cool home in the summertime.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but this said 20 years ago, you just wouldn't find many
No.
air conditioners if you were buying a home, right?
No. And you didn't need them, to be
Yeah.
quite honest. You didn't need them.
Now, could this also be part of people just wanting to have more perks when they're buying a house?
Perks are one thing, but now it's almost like a necessity. I mean, if you think about it, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you'd get a car. It
Right.
wouldn't have air conditioning.
Yeah.
But now it's all standard. So we're kind of expecting the same type of things in our homes. We want to be comfortable in them.
I know my neighbors got an air conditioner, I want to say 5 years ago, and I thought at the time, what for? It's only hot 3 or 4 days. Now
But I bet you want to go over there
Yeah,
when those
exactly.
weeks are hot, right?
Now I'm thinking, I'm going to
Hey,
be really
neighbor.
friendly to my neighbors. 'Cause
Exactly,
that is so good.
exactly.
All right, but how common is it then to find homes in Edmonton with air conditioning? I mean, if you're buying an older home, for instance.
You would be surprised. And yes, it does depend on the neighborhood. So some of the older neighborhoods, you don't see it as frequently, but you'd be surprised because there's some who do put them in their homes. I mean, I have a home, it's over 100 years old, and we have an air conditioner
really?
in there. Yep.
Well, I would find those homes too may need it more because they might not have the insulation that you have in a modern home.
Yeah.
Unless
And
it's been upgraded, of course. Yeah.
well, of course, and some of them have been upgraded. But the other thing too, a lot of these older homes, you would go in there, and some of their windows are like sealed and painted shut.
Right.
So, and some of them have like really old windows. So it does take some time to actually open those windows up.
Do you have people who say this is a must-have, and therefore that cuts down on really what you can show them if they have to have air conditioning?
Well, definitely. And realtors were able to, narrow down those fine details if people have that as a must-have. And so when that's the case, we do show them those homes that do have air conditioners in them. And it is quite, and sometimes you can turn on a switch that helps to cool the house down too. So we would show air-conditioned homes, but I don't think we would be afraid to show them homes that don't have air conditioners because it is pretty easy to get one installed.
And is that something as a realtor you kind of have to know about how possible that is? In other words, well, you got to know what the ballpark cost is for putting in air conditioning?
Yeah, well, searching on Home Depot, the cost could range about between $4,000 to $6,000.
Right.
But of course, it does depend on the size of the home and the areas that you want to have cool.
Now, if you're somebody who perhaps couldn't afford it and say that's not in your budget, what are some other options for keeping homes cool that you could show to people?
Well, you can certainly, I would still suggest reaching out to a heating and cooling company because they do have some great payment plans. So you don't have to pay for it all at once.
Right.
You could, stretch those payments out through a course of a few years, which could help most people. Definitely check to see if your windows, first of all, open and there's ability to get some good cross breeze happening in the home. Also, there's like portable air conditioners that you can get at Canadian Tire or London Drugs sometimes, and they're pretty affordable. Of course, they don't cool the whole home,
Right.
but it can certainly help to cool the upstairs or the parts of the house where you're in there most.
Like your bedroom, for
Like your
instance,
bedroom,
where you like
yeah.
to have cool when you're
Yeah,
sleeping.
exactly.
Have you seen any other trends in cooling technology?
Well, what I find interesting is that I'm seeing a lot of homes that have ceiling fans now, and the newer ones too, not like the old ones that we see in the 70s.
Right.
So people are taking those into consideration. Also, I noticed like in Blatchford, they have an awesome geothermal system,
Right.
which both heats the home and cools the home in a very environmentally friendly way.
I know when we did our renovation a few years ago, it's come up almost to 10 years now, we included fans in the bedrooms upstairs, the kitchen. We had those in there. They can be very effective, at least in moving the air around.
Oh, of course,
Yeah.
of course. And that will help keep the place comfortable.
Yeah, for sure. Michelle, always interesting to chat with you. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Mark.